responsibility which we are giving back to our society. We are visiting various campuses and departments, and the only gospel we are preaching is how best to stay healthy. We want to have an healthy society and community where everyone is safe from illness and ailment. And we believe that the most important aspect of medicine is preventive medicine, and that is why we are here. Once again, I want to appreciate you for having me here, because this is a very rare privilege to stand in front of erudite scholars of your category. Thank you so much. All right, so I will start briefly just because of our time. I will be the only one that will be speaking because we don't have much time. They are fully loaded for us, but I'm sorry we have limited time. So let me start with this. Sometimes ago, some incidents happened, and as a result of that, I developed interest in preventive medicine. And what happened is there is a particular lady, she got married, and after her marriage, she had a baby girl. And later, subsequently, she got pregnant again, which is the second pregnancy. But something happened, something tragic. This woman, she was due for delivery at the 9th month, which everyone expected her to deliver the baby. Of course, after scan everything, they were expecting a baby boy. But unfortunately, it was a stillbirth. And when we say stillbirth, it means the child was born dead. Now, what happened? Normally in our society, there will be a lot of issues, a lot of submissions, a lot of opinions based on what happened religiously, spiritually, culturally. But could you believe what happened to her was as a result of her blood group? Yes, her blood group. This woman is having the blood group type O negative. And for every woman who happen to be O negative, who gets married to a man who is O positive, that is what we call resource incompatibility. Now, when resource incompatibility occur, there is going to be a case called resource disease. Now, what happened is when she had the first child, the baby was resource positive, just like the father. And when we say resource positive, just our blood group, we know that we have blood, isn't it? Now, that our blood, it is called blood cell. And the blood cell, just like this cycle, if I'm allowed to clean this figure. Now, what we're having here, this shape, let's assume we now have something on top, just like this wedding ring that used to have diamond. Now, take that diamond to be a protein. That protein is the resource, which the blood of the father or husband has, but that of the woman doesn't have it. So our body is now sensing that signal coming from the first child as invader, as something that is coming to attack her. And what happens when our body senses that? The immune system will develop antibody because it will see that as an antigen. Now, it is this antibody that will fight when she has subsequent attack from this same thing. And that is when she has the second pregnancy. Now, when she has the second pregnancy, her body is seeing her baby as an enemy, and the body starts fighting it. We know the woman's immune system is well developed, while that of the fetus, the child in the embryo, is not yet well developed. That is why most times the baby dies before delivery. And at times, the woman may also lose her life. That is one case. And just one single injection will prevent all this tragedy I've been talking about since. But how many of us are aware of this? The person I mentioned that had this condition happened to be my own personal person. And none of us have idea of what was happening then until we got the information. Now, let's look at our genotype. A lot of people are aware now that AS and AS should not marry. But yet, AS and AS are still getting married. And that is why we need to keep advocating. We need to keep telling people that if you think you are marrying someone because of love, two of you are AS, a time is coming that love is not going to be enough for you again. Because the crisis that you are going to face when you have a child who is SS, there is no amount of love that you have for each other that can help you. Because normally you will not be able to change the genotype of this child, and this child will be having crisis, then you'll be spending money in the hospital every time. And in fact, the child, there is higher chances that he or she might not survive. Then why are we going to follow this path when we know that it will only bring agony, bitterness, tragedy, sadness? Then why can't we prevent it? And that is why we are here and our team. We have a lot of videos talking about resource disease and incompatibility, talking about genotype and a lot of all these topics. today, also we have body mass index. Body mass index is something that people are not taking care of, and the reason is we believe that maybe we are too busy to take care of it. What is our body mass index? It is something that we can maneuver it, and that is our weight divided by our height square. When you take measurement of your weight and you take that of your height, then your height square it, then your weight up as numerator and your height square as denominator, then divide it. Now when you have this figure, it's telling you something. When you have below 18.49, it means that you are underweight. When you are underweight, there are a lot of diseases that you are prone to. They call it susceptibility, meaning that you are at high chances of developing them more than every other person. Then from 18.50 to 24.9, that is normal weight. From 25 to 30 kilogram per meter square, that is overweight. And from 30 and above, that is obese, which is obesity. Now, where am I going? Obesity itself is not a disease. Body mass index is not a disease. But when someone is obese or underweight, that person is risking developing diabetes. That person is at high risk of developing hypertension and so many other cardiovascular disease. And where am I driving at? Exercise. Regular and moderate exercise. You see that we are not spending anything. You can do it at your home. You can do it in your room, isn't it? Exercise. Let it be regular and moderate. And there's something with exercise. Consistency matters. If you go to gym today, like one of my brother, and they give you maybe 300 kilograms, you push the thing. Tomorrow, the only thing you develop is you have pain. Your arms, everywhere will pain you. You are not benefiting anything. But if you are carrying just 50 kg, you carry it today, tomorrow you carry it, next tomorrow you carry it, that consistency will help you. Exercise. You can decide to be doing sit-up and push-up, even in your room. You may not go to gymnastics center. So exercise is very essential because most of all these diseases that we can prevent, of course, one of factors that can help us in preventing them is exercise. So one of factors that can help us in preventing them is what? Moderate and regular exercise. Please, let's take care of that. I've mentioned diabetes and hypertension, of course, resource factor and genetics. The next thing I will be talking about is hepatitis. So the next thing I'll be talking about is hepatitis. Hepatitis is not very popular like HIV and AIDS, but it is highly deadly, such as HIV and AIDS. The reason is when someone has hepatitis, the person may not even have symptoms or show any symptoms. But before you know what's going on, it may lead to liver cirrhosis. It may damage the liver. That person may look very healthy. The person might be doing regular thing, but of course, you just see the person is working one day and fall down, collapse, and die. So please, let us go and do hepatitis screening, and also let us take the vaccine. Let's go to all these our primary health care centers. They have the vaccine. They have it. Please go there, get screened, and take the vaccine. I will send our link to the class rep. We can subscribe to the channel. We see all the videos on topics I've mentioned. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, and let's give them a round of applause once again. Okay, so I don't know, within the few minutes we have, I don't know if you have any question regarding that, or you have any question pertaining to health issue generally that you can ask him. And we only have less than 10 minutes or stuff like that. So if you have any question, you can just quickly come forward here and ask him, then he give us an answer to it. Whether health issue, genotype, blood group, or you want to know who and who is compatible. They are just saying AS cannot marry. Okay, which one can we marry? Stuff like that. So if you have any question, you can ask. For me, I have a question, sir. Okay, so my question is, you said AS and AS cannot have or marry, but we always have something like AC. Is it also pertaining that AC and AS cannot, they are not compatible? And secondly is that something like all these, is it also opportune, or is it possible for SS and AA to have a compatibility?
All right, thank you so much for that question. Please, in case we have any other question, let the person just come to the front so that we maximize the time. Based on the compatibility, it's just because of our time. When we are talking about genotype, it's not only AA, AS, and SS, but that is the most common one. Now, there is AA, there is AS, and there is SS. Now, when they say SS, they just use letters to like symbolize things. When I was explaining the blood the other time, I used this symbol, isn't it? Now, let's assume I clear off this part and I draw something like this. If I have a marker like this, that is what? Sickle. Now, that sickle we use it to pluck all these things, orange and the likes. Now, someone who is having AS, what we are saying is the person is having one genotype that produce a blood which is normal like this, and the other one that produce one that has sickle shape. Do you understand now? Now, this sickle shape, that's why we call it AS. Also, it may be AC. That shape too may form something like C. It's not going to take this full shape. As a result of that, the workload that this cell can take will be very lesser compared to this. So that is why it is diseased genotype. Now, AS, SS, AC, and also SC. There is SC. So all these ones, they are not to marry. But somebody who is AA can marry AS, can marry SS, can marry AC, and can marry SC. I hope you understand, sir. So someone is AA can marry anybody. That is the term they normally use. Can marry anybody. So that is on that question.
People who O positive, and then that's for the lady, and then the male O positive. When they get married, do they have any? Are they going to encounter any problem? Maybe yes, or later, maybe even if it's through their zodiac sign. Because I don't want to know.
Thank you so much for the question, ma'am. Now, when we're talking about blood, for someone who is having O positive as a woman, she doesn't have any problem. The meaning is she's having that protein. So if she even marry a man who is O negative, yes, even O positive and O positive, they are not having any problem. The problem only occurs when the woman is O negative and the husband is O positive. I hope the question is clear. All right. Yes. Of course, all those things are now when basically when we're talking about medical, so we talk about the compatibility aspect. Do you understand? So all those other ones, they are not within the scope of our discipline.
My question is, I had O negative happens to be the universal donor, and then now you're saying O negative for a lady shouldn't get married to O positive.
Okay.
So then, why is O positive now the universal donor?
All right, thank you. Please, let's correct something. We are not saying O negative woman should not marry O positive. Of course, they can marry. The only thing is, before they get pregnant, they should go and see their family doctor and tell them that my wife is O negative and I'm O positive. You understand already? He's only going to give the woman one injection, which will serve as vaccine to map out that protein that the husband has, so that the woman's body will not produce antibody against that protein. They can marry. But when you are talking about donation of blood now, that is another aspect. That is blood transfusion compatibility. Now, when we are talking about blood transfusion compatibility, there are some blood groups that can give blood to others. And what we use for that is antigen and antibody. So if I am, for example, like myself now, I'm O positive. So the meaning of O positive, which I explain, is I have that resource factor. Now, I have the resource factor. Now, this O positive, somebody might be B, somebody might be A, somebody might be AB. O can give anybody blood. That is why it is universal donor. But O negative can only collect blood from O negative only. From O negative only. But O positive can collect from O negative and can collect from O positive. The reason why O negative can only collect from O negative is O doesn't have antigen. Do you understand now? So when we say O negative, it doesn't have antigen. But O positive has antigen. Now, the O negative that doesn't have antigen, if somebody that has antigen is donating blood, our immune system will sense it that something foreign is entering me, then to trigger immune response reaction. But if the person is O positive and is collecting from O negative, of course, there is no protein that is going to cause the problem. And if he's collecting from O positive, also his body is having the positive, but he cannot collect from A and B. That one is very complex. We'll not be going to that. If you want to understand it very well, please just subscribe to the channel. You see our videos where we talk about all these topics. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for them once again. So we'll be looking forward to expecting more from you, possibly another awareness that could be created once in a while, maybe second semester, stuff like that, because it's really beneficial and really benefited us. Thank you very much once again. So
all right. Please, this project we are doing is very crucial to us, and that is why we leave our place from AKTH and we come down here.